Welcome back. This week I got that magneto working on that 32 John Deere that I purchased recently and did a little more work and hopes to have it running soon. I'm going to introduce you to our engine team that's going to be competing at the national level very soon. And I paid a visit to a farmer who is a collector of old tractors and equipment who's going to be auctioning off his collection late next year. And I was allowed to go in and take a look around at some of the rare machines that he has, and I'm sharing a few of those with you today as well. Thanks for tuning in. I'm about to take the magneto apart for that John Deere D to see if we can get it to fire. We're going to pull the cap off first, and the cap is in actually two pieces. You've got the four screws around the outside perimeter of the main cap, and then two screws that hold on the cap that feed the fire to the plugs themselves. And I've known some people that have broke these before because when you look down at these two holes, it doesn't look like there's anything there. And then when you do finally clean it up a little bit, they almost look like rivets because there's so much trash that gets in there over the years that it fills in the screw slot and you can't really see it. So make sure that you clean these up really well, even if you have to flush them with something so that you can get a screwdriver in there to get those screws out. I got the cap off the mags. You can kind of see that those screws are pretty nasty looking. It did take a bit to get them out, but I was successful in doing that. And then I got the second cap off as well. Cleaned the points up really well. Didn't have to remove them. Used a point file. Got them cleaned up, readjusted them, and now I'm ready to test it. So what I've got here is I've got the coil wire going out and over to a screwdriver shaft that I've got grounded to the base. You can use anything you want. You can even use a spark plug if you want to, but as long as it jumps to ground, then we know that it's actually going to probably fire the plugs, and then we may be able to get that D running here pretty soon. So let me show you that it does fire. I'm going to spin the mag by hand to get it to fire. You'll hear it when it clicks. You should see a spark jump. Now I've got the gap a little more than what a plug is actually going to be. So if it's blue and hot here, then it's definitely going to fire the plug well. You can see it jumping every time it kicks. And it's nice bright blue too. Now that we know the mag is good, we'll put the cap back on it, take it back, put it on the tractor, and see if we can get it to start. The guy I got this D from never had it running. He tried to pull start it a bunch of times and was never successful. And after getting the mag ready to put on it and getting it set to be timed, this piece, which is the driver for the mag, was definitely off by almost 45 degrees. So I took the bolts out that hold that. We're going to put it where it belongs, which is about horizontal. And then we're going to put the mag on it and see if we've got fire. We've got the mag put in place and we actually have it timed now. So it's not off as far as it was, and we've got it firing at the exact time. So let me show you how we did that. The horizontal mark there on the back of the tractor is about 3 o'clock, and this, which is our left-hand impulse, is for cylinder number 1. So the idea is that when this comes up and we roll it counterclockwise, this line here should line up perfectly with that one when the mag clicks, and that should fire the number 1 plug. So right there it clicked. We're a little beyond it, but it was perfectly lined up when it did click. And I'll show you now that the plug is firing when that's happening. Nice bright blue fire, so this thing should run fine once we get fuel to it. With the magneto and the carburetor straightened out and about ready to fire off, I ordered a new radiator core for this. So I'm pulling the radiator completely off now so that we can take it apart, put the new core in.
I'm Jorge Quesada.
I'm Mauri Quinteros.
I'm Gerson Chicas.
I'm Eric Hoya.
I'm Michael Mendieta.
These young men will be competing in the engine building nationals held in Indianapolis in early December. Their objective is to tear down and reassemble a small block Chevy engine using only hand tools. They must use proper procedures, torque specifications, as well as lubricating key points. They will also be at events and car shows throughout the rest of the summer and the fall. We will keep you posted on those events.
Go, 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 go. Last one, I think, is down.
This is an Avery tractor, very rare and a very big tractor. Pretty cool to see this one running. This is a Rumley oil pull. It's rare to see these anyway, but not only does this gentleman have one, he actually has 3 of them. So it's pretty rare to see 3 of them in the same place, and the fact that they all run is pretty unusual as well. This is a Fordson tractor, very similar to the one that I'm in the middle of restoring right now. This tractor is a Minneapolis, again, another very rare tractor, and very cool to see it and know that it runs. And this is a McCormick Deering that had been sitting around for a long time, so much so that a tree had grown up through the front axle, and he had to use a saw to cut the tractor away from the tree, and here it is. It would be really cool, I think, to see this tractor running and moving around, if possible, with the tree still intact. It would definitely make for a great story. This is a gray tractor, not because of its color, but its manufacture. It looks like a steamroller, but it's not. It's an actual tractor. And this is a Case cross motor. Cross motor tractor is one I'd love to have in my collection someday. They're pretty rare. And this is a gravity feed gas pump. I have one similar to that. And this is what I feel is the cream of the crop. This is a Massey Harris four-wheel drive tractor. I've been looking for one of these for a very long time, and here it sits. So when the auction comes up, I will definitely be bidding on this one. I'm using a bore gauge to check for taper in the cylinders on the Cub. We already know that it needs to be bored. I just wanted to see how bad off the cylinders actually were. Stock cylinder size is 2.625, so I've got the bore gauge set for that. So I will go into the cylinders and look for to see how far each one is off. And when I've done this, we're at about 4 thousandths off at the top. Near the bottom of the cylinder, it's about 1 to 1.5 thousandths. Now the nice thing is it's not out of round, because when I do move it 90 degrees, it's the same amount, the same measurement. So it is just a little bit of a taper problem, but again, that's normal in something this old, because you have less lubrication and more heat at the top of the cylinder, so you're generally going to get more wear there anyway. So again, after this, I just wanted to see what I was in for the boring process. So now we can go ahead and order pistons and rings for it and get busy boring this thing out. Next time on Bulldog Builds, we'll have that John Deere radiator apart, cleaned up and ready for its new core. I'll try to have more footage of the CleatTrack 20K to share with you. And the students will be back in the building, and hopefully I'll have some footage to share with what they're up to. See you next week.